Chapter 26, Okinawa. There was a time not long ago when assignment to Okinawa was like being sent to the ends of the earth. But times have changed, and so has the Ryukyu's command. Today, Okinawa is a fine place to be stationed if you don't suffer from the kind of geographic claustrophobia some people get on islands. The Rock, as those who have lived there are prone to call it, is a narrow matchstick of land lying between Japan and Formosa. The island is 67 miles long and varies in width from 3 to 10 miles. The southern half of the island is rolling terrain, and it's here that the towns, farms, and roads are located. Northern Okinawa is mountainous, sparsely populated, and nearly inaccessible except on foot. The island is one of the United States' important outposts on the edges of the Asian mainland. The Ryukyus are a series of islands hanging like a string of beads between Japan and Formosa. Okinawa, which means rope in the sea, is about 440 nautical miles from Shanghai, 400 from Formosa, 840 from Tokyo, and 6,000 from San Francisco. The island group sneaks up to within sight of the southernmost Japanese island, but few of the Ryukyus are inhabited. Except for a few tiny detachments, Okinawa proper is the only one on which American military forces are stationed. The people are Asiatic, primarily of Japanese descent, but darker and stockier than most Japanese. The language of Okinawa is Japanese, although the culture is a mixture of Japanese and Chinese, with a sprinkling of local art and customs. The Okinawans are a rugged people who live close to the land and the sea. A large number of the American troops on the island are Air Force, since Okinawa is an important air base in our Pacific Defense Ring. Bombers from the island flew combat missions over Korea all through the fighting there. The Army, however, maintains a regimental combat team, a number of technical and support units, and a civil affairs detachment. The normal tour of duty on Okinawa these days is 18 months, but if dependents go, their sponsor must stay at least 30 months and at least a year after his family joins him. The trip out is usually by boat. You may leave either from San Francisco or Seattle, and you can expect the trip to take from 20 to 25 days. Air travel to the island is rare, although some families are now returning to the States by plane. Living on Okinawa is comfortable. There was a time when quarters were none too good. A one-time deputy commander there reported that he liked it fine except for the fact that his house, like most other military quarters on the island, had a tin roof, and it was directly in line with the foot of a bomber runway. Every time one of the big planes took off, he felt as if he was living in a huge bass fiddle. Nowadays, things are looking up. New housing has been built rapidly in the past couple of years, and family quarters now are good, solid, comfortable concrete houses with asphalt tile floors. Closets are big, there are airy porches, and the houses are typhoon-proof. This last is an important consideration on an island that experiences 1 or 2 typhoons a year. Winds so strong that they will actually blow the paint off an automobile parked outside. Family quarters are equipped with stoves and refrigerators and are fully furnished. The furnishings are good, but will probably get a little worse from now on. Since Okinawa was formerly a Japanese island, soldiers there were in an occupation status until 1950. Now we are charged by the United Nations with the government of the Ryukyuan chain and are building a local administration there, although the islands themselves still belong to Japan. One result of this change in status is that much furniture that was once manufactured by the island as part of occupation payments is no longer provided. Small items like end tables, lamps, and other furnishings not normally considered quartermaster issue will be issued only until current stocks are depleted. So take lamps with you, as well as the other bric-a-brac and small items of furniture you feel you will need to make living more comfortable. Rugs are not an item of issue, but it is not wise to take any since grass and fiber rugs are available at low prices on the local market. Most people have found them highly satisfactory and not nearly as susceptible to mildew and mold as rugs you would bring from home. Your electrical appliances will all work without adjustment since power on Okinawa is 110 volt 60 cycle AC as in the States. Your regular stateside radio will bring in the Armed Forces radio service stations, but many people like to have a shortwave set too to pick up stations in the United States, the Philippines, and Japan. If you are a record fan, take your player and a good supply of records. Take any of your small appliances which make life more pleasant for you. Although you can rely on native washwomen, you may want to bring a washing machine, since the Okinawan climate will keep your clothes hamper full. It should be a non-automatic type because parts and service for automatic models are difficult to obtain. Bring your pots and pans and kitchen utensils. Remember that Okinawa's humidity and salty air make rust a common household nuisance, so aluminum, copper, and stainless steel equipment is more satisfactory than iron or tin. The same consideration is important in planning what furniture to take with you. You can get along on what the quartermaster will furnish, and you might be wise to plan on doing so. At least, do not take your upholstered furniture, good leather top tables or desks or any other furnishings that will suffer from dampness and mold. The exception, as always, is beds. Include in your household goods a few simple tools, hammer, saw, screwdrivers, and so on, and a collection of nails, screws, nuts, and bolts, and other small hardware. Such items are hard to get on Okinawa, and they are invaluable in maintaining your quarters. It is also wise to take a collection of seeds, both vegetable and flower. The soil of the island is lush, but while the supply of fresh green vegetables is improving, it still leaves something to be desired. A small kitchen garden can be a big housekeeping aid. Flowers, of course, are always a delight, and you can't get seeds or cuttings on Okinawa. Don't worry if you aren't the green thumb type, or if you just don't like to grub in the dirt. You can hire an Okinawan gardener for $12 or less a month. Household help on the island is good and cheap. $12 is about the top wage paid or asked. Take a good supply of shoes with you. Okinawa is a coral island and hard on footwear. Also, you will walk a lot because much of the recreation is outdoors on the beaches, the golf course, or picnicking. The climate is good and will keep you outside. The weather is similar to that of northern Florida, with summer's high temperatures seldom getting above 90 and winter days almost never dropping below 45. The highest temperature ever recorded was 96 and the lowest 41. The year-round average is 72. Humidity is high, staying largely in the 90s during the summer months. Temperature and humidity make clothing hard to care for and have made Okinawa a pretty casual station in this respect. On duty, soldiers wear summer cottons, except between January 1st and March 14th. Off-duty, civilian clothes are authorized. Women find that cottons and a couple of light suits suffice for daytime wear. They will need a couple of formals, but they should be simple, cool, and easy to care for. Women will go for months without wearing a hat, but because of the rain and wind, they will find that the ubiquitous scarf is one of Okinawa's most popular items of wearing apparel. Washable is the keynote for Okinawan clothing. Dry cleaners on the island are not equipped to handle delicate materials. Shopping facilities are spotty. The commissaries are good, carrying a full line of canned goods, frozen fruits and vegetables, and an excellent supply of meat. There is a milk reconstitution plant on the island, so milk is no problem. There are some fresh vegetables available through the commissaries, which are locally produced on farms inspected and approved by the Army. All in all, the food supply for service families on Okinawa is as good as it is anywhere else in the world. The post exchanges, as everywhere, have a good supply of tobacco and toilet articles and other odds and ends, but children's clothes, shoes, underthings, women's clothes, hose, and cosmetics are all in short supply, and all PX clothing looks pretty much alike. Items of uniform and some sport clothes are available in the PXs. Women will find it wise before leaving the States to stock up on cotton underthings, for the humidity makes nylon clammy and uncomfortable. And on those little boot socks called peds, hose is seldom worn in the daytime. It is wise, too, to leave a file of sizes and color and style preferences with the personal shopper in your favorite stateside department store before going to Okinawa. You will make good use of such a service, and take a mail order catalog or two. It takes from 6 weeks to 2 months to get mail order delivery on the island, but it will be worth it for such things as children's shoes and toys and some sporting equipment. You will do a lot of your shopping by mail. Since the United States is so far away, the mail order facilities of Japan and Hong Kong will tempt you, and you should try them. For men, Hong Kong has several excellent tailors who will provide good suits quickly and far more cheaply than you could get them at home. Outside of military facilities like the PX and the commissary, the stores on Okinawa will meet some of your needs nicely, others not at all. There are a few large department stores there now, which handle many things of interest to the service family. Women will be fascinated by the yard goods imported from Japan, the Philippines, and Hong Kong. Materials, weaves, finishes, and prices are all attractive, but such things as thread, buttons, and bias tape are scarce on Okinawa, so it is wise to bring them from home. Also available on the local market are jewelry, some works of art, small items of furniture, grass rugs, and china. They cultivate pearls on Okinawa. Some of them are black and extraordinarily handsome. Glasses, however, are hard to find, and it is wise to leave home with a good stock of the dime store variety for family use. You will enjoy having your own car in Okinawa. Local service facilities are reasonably good. However, the climate is hard on cars, so yours should be in good shape before you leave the States, and it should be undercoated and well waxed. The only special regulation you will meet with your car on Okinawa is a $1 annual licensing fee. Okinawa offers 3 spectator sports not common in the United States. Cockfighting is a favorite among Okinawans, both for the sport itself and for the gambling it provides. Every village has its cockpit, and the fights draw big crowds. There is bullfighting too, of a kind almost unknown anywhere else in the world. Instead of pitting bull against man, as in Spain and Mexico, the Okinawans pit bull against bull. The huge animals are carefully bred and trained, and the fights are a riot of action. Trainers work in the fighting rings with their animals, urging them on with word and rope, and there is strong partisanship in the crowd. Bulls are seldom killed in these fights, but it is a far from gentle sport. A third Okinawan A third Okinawan fighting sport is the battle between mongoose and snake. Most Americans have never seen a mongoose, but the scrappy little animals are common on Okinawa. The natives not only use them to hunt snakes, but pit them against the poisonous habu snake in public fights. Many Americans turn to deep sea fishing on Okinawa, although there is also some reasonably good freshwater fishing on the island. As for hunting, there are ducks, doves, and some tiny quail. There are rumors that there are wild boar in the northern mountains, and soldiers frequently make up hunting parties to go after them, but seldom, if ever, bag one. And if you're not the type who believes that recreation and exercise go hand in hand, the island has an excellent network of service clubs, motion picture theaters, and hobby shops. The clubs sponsor a formal dance every now and then. The schools on Okinawa are very good. Operated by the military, they run from kindergarten through 12th grade. School buses carry the students back and forth, and inexpensive lunches are available at school. Since the war, the Okinawans have developed a sincere interest in education, and there is a university on the island now, but college-level study for dependents of military personnel is not available on the island. South of Naha, Okinawa's principal city, is Suicide Cliff, where hundreds of Japanese soldiers killed themselves in the summer of 1945 rather than surrender to United States troops. The island was die-hard enemy territory. Today, nearly 60,000 Okinawans work for the United States military forces, diligently and with often demonstrated loyalty. Their island is becoming an important outpost in the struggle for human freedom, and the American serving on Oki advances that struggle both by what he does on the job and what he does in his dealings with the island's people. It is an interesting and heartening assignment.